So, this episode is going to be quite diversified because we're first of all gonna, or maybe second of all, I'm not quite sure how the chain reaction is gonna be like, We're first of all gonna talk about lying and why you should not be lying, and it's basically a book summary, a really short one, a little bit of a longer one, different book summaries of the same book actually, just because I found that this book could be actually pretty important, and therefore I've been searching up a few different quote-unquote copies of it. And then we're also going to talk about some Sdwt blog posts, just because I found that these are particularly great and particularly important and particularly good as well. Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to start right after the intro. And I'm actually pretty happy to record this episode. The funny thing is that I today realized that I'm actually recording the episodes in English, which is not the language that I'm using normally, because I'm living in Austria and I'm speaking in German just the whole day long. But when I come home, then I'm actually having a half an hour, 20 minutes of speaking in English. And I like it. I've chosen to take this path because I've liked it. And I still like it. And I'm grateful that I started whatever I've started. Truly, I'm really happy about that. And I think it is also just a great way to, I think you should start also something like that. Because you can learn so much because of it or from it. I've learned so much just because I've been able to create such a framework for myself. Of course, you're not going to learn just quite a lot if you're doing something that you do not like or whatever. Like, there are certain frameworks where you're not going to learn just such a lot of things. But you can create a framework, you can create a framework for yourself that makes you learn quite a lot of things. And quite a lot of important things as well that are going to then be important for you just in the rest of your life, which is quite the good part about it, which is the amazing part about it, that it is not just something that's going to matter for 2 years, 3 years, but it might definitely matter for the rest of your life. And I think these things that I've been able to learn throughout these 1 year and a bit, they truly have transformed my life. And it's been amazing, I've enjoyed it. And I also enjoy just being able to maybe put out something that's also going to help someone else, not only myself. Really not. Like, there's nothing better. Like, there's no better feeling than just having the feeling of helping somebody else, especially if it is a stranger. Like, kind of funny, to be honest, but it just really feels good. I'm seeing it on Reddit. If I'm able to just help somebody on Reddit, it feels so fucking good. It really does. It really does feel so fucking good. But yeah. Maybe we're going to just start with one book summary. So this is one of them, but it's probably going to be the second one, and this should be the first one. So it's about lying. I've decided to just go through the lying part beforehand, and then if we're having the time, we're going to go through some Sdwt blog posts, which are amazing. All of them are just truly amazing. But yeah, so Lying by Sam Harris. It is rated 8 out of 10. And the link to this book summary is going to be down in the description, as well as the links to everything else that we're going to go through today. Also, the link to the podcast is down in the description. So if you're listening to this or watching this as a YouTube video, please check out the podcast. At least in my point of view, it is a way better way to consume this episode, because you're just able to do something simultaneously. You could be listening to it while you're doing something else, while you're working out, while you're just going for a walk, whatever you're doing. You're able to do something simultaneously, which makes it way more efficient and maybe even way more effective if you're a person that is able to learn through auditive things or just audio. High-level thoughts. Don't lie, it is not worth it. And here is why. Thinking about how we erode trust through white lies told in front of other people was particularly interesting. First of all, I hate lying. I'm not gonna lie about that, but sometimes lies are a pretty convenient way to make things a little bit better, at least in the short term. They really are. They really are sometimes quite a good way in the short term, which is really important to point out. That is something good in the short term. It's probably not going to be something good in the long term. I think it never ever is going to be a good thing in the long term. Because in the end, it's probably going to just put yourself in a position or in a situation where everything is not going to be that nice, when people actually have noticed that you have been lying and you have not been honest and all those things. Like, in general, lying is something, and people that are not honest, these things are just some things that people in general don't like, I would say, at least I don't know anybody that likes people that are not honest and or are lying and all those things. But yeah, I don't like lying. And I would also say that it is just not good. It is just not good, no matter what. It is not good for yourself, And it is particularly also harmful for the other person that you're lying to. But this is actually something that this book summary is consisting of. A quite great part of it is about why it affects the other person as well, and not only yourself. So the summary notes: lying, even over the smallest reasons, needlessly damages personal relations and public trust. It really does. And especially it damages personal relations. In many cases, false encouragement can harm the other person. Telling a fat person they are thin, telling a bad writer they are doing good or great, telling a sloppy mess that they are telling a fat person they are thin, telling a bad writer they are doing great, telling a sloppy mess that they're attractive, these all hold them back from fixing their problems. We do it because we're scared of hurting their feelings, but we do more damage in the long run, probably. The solution isn't to be an asshole, but to find ways to provide the truth objectively. So by just telling them in a very charismatic way, in a very just good way, that they are not a good writer, that they are not thin, that they are not looking great, and all those things. Like, I really also want to underline and want to point out that you should not be an asshole. That you really, truly should not be an asshole. You should not be mean. It should not be mean what you're saying or what you're willing to say. It should be something nice, even though it is not a nice thing. You should be just telling them in a nice way and not being like, well, you know what? You're actually pretty fat. It's not going to make anything better. It's going to make everything worse. You're going to just hurt them just double the time just because you're saying it in a fucked up way, and it is a fucked up thing. But telling the truth is something important. But I'm just thinking how you could be presenting this in an objective way. Maybe by giving them examples, I guess, would actually be quite a good way to also make them realize. Sometimes I can assume, or I can think of, that these people are not really able to just get those things that you're trying to tell them. Because maybe they're living in another reality than you're living in. Maybe they're just not seeing it. And all different kinds of things, like there's just a lot of problems and a lot of ways to just not see things, I would say. But by just telling them with examples in an objective way, for the long term, it's definitely going to make everything better. Of course, in the short term, it might be fucked up. It might be a little bit, it might not be a pretty cool position to be in as a person that gives the feedback or the criticism or whatever. If your friend knows you will be the one to tell them the truth, they will come to you more. You will be a welcome change because they know you won't just coddle them. How would your relations change if you started doing this? What kind of person would you become? What would you learn about yourself? Because I guess it is also about lying to yourself. And this is a huge part. And it is also a huge part of self-development and self-improvement because, of course, if you're lying to yourself all the fucking time, you're not going to progress. You're not going to get better. You're not going to improve. And if you truly want to improve, then it is fucked up, of course. So don't lie to yourself. Be honest to yourself and try to see how things actually are in terms of not just making them better, not just letting them feel better and all those things. Just be honest. Be honest about the situation you're in. Be honest about your skills with yourself and or to yourself. And also just being honest about it doesn't necessarily mean, it does actually not at all mean that you're going to be negative and not really optimistic. It is not having something to do with being honest to yourself, Of course, you can still see good things, but being honest to yourself doesn't mean that you're not going to see good things, that you're not going to be an optimist. And the last one is try being more truthful and not telling these little white lies except when you absolutely have no other choice. But I think there's always a choice. There's always a choice to just tell the truth. Even though I can assume, I can really assume that there's going to be a bunch of situations where a lie is going to be more convenient, where it is just going to be better for you, where it's just going to be nicer, maybe. Or you kind of have a feeling that it is going to be nicer. If it, in the end, is actually going to be nicer is something that you don't particularly know beforehand. Of course, you will know afterwards, but then it's a little too late, I would say. But yeah, let's actually have a look at the second book summary. But first of all, I've actually seen I'm on the Sam Harris site, so the site of the author himself, and there's actually a review by Tim Ferriss, and I'm willing to read this. Humans have evolved to lie well, and no doubt you've seen the social lubrication at work. In many cases, we might not think of it as a true lie, Perhaps a white lie, once in a blue moon, the omission of a sensitive detail here and there, false encouragement of others when we see no benefit in dashing someone's hopes, and the list goes on. In Lying, Sam Harris demonstrates how to benefit from being brutally but pragmatically honest. It is a compelling little book with a big impact. And I especially want to point out that it is a little book. It seems to be quite short. I guess it is under 200 pages. Of course, I would say so, because as you're seeing here on the left side of the screen, I love that he was able to get his point across so succinctly, whatever it fucking means. One of the hardest words to pronounce that I've encountered up to this point, without feeling the need to stretch it to a 200-pager to please the publishers. Yeah, it is something fucked up. There's gonna be a lot of fluff in a lot of books, and a lot of repetitions and a lot of things. It might be also one of the reasons why Seth Godin talks about reading books up to the point where he gets the joke, or when he gets the joke, which means that he's only gonna read the book up to this point until he actually grasps the whole point of the book. And then he just lets it down, basically. And it is not about quitting. It is not about just not having the consistency or what the fuck ever. It is about just getting the joke and getting what the book is all about. And then why should you be reading all the fucking fluff? Doesn't make any sense. So why should you be doing it? Think about it. Mental accounting. By being honest at all times, it frees up from the need to keep track of the lies. We can simply be ourselves at every moment. Keeping track of lies requires mental accounting, which is one of the points where you should not be lying, because it's going to take some mental bandwidth, as he also says in the book, or as he says in this book summary. And I actually have to say that, of course you're going to feel better if you're not lying, because there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to maybe even worry about. And there's nothing to just, break your head about and all those things. I think it's not really English, break your head about. It is a German thing, den Kopf zerbrechen. The recipient. By lying, which are some quotes now, by lying we deny our friends access to reality. When we presume to lie for the benefit of others, we have decided that we are the best judges of how much they should understand about their own lives. Definitely. We are basically kind of, I don't want to say interrupt them, but you're basically just taking their chance of seeing reality, I would say, as reality actually is. Every lie is an assault on the autonomy on those we lie to. So as you can see, it is quite really often about, or just, it is just some sort of an excerpt of the whole book here, these 3 quotes, but he's definitely going to talk about the other person in the book, which at my point of view is a pretty good way to make people not do it any longer. Just because you're seeing, it is actually hurting the other person, which is actually one of the reasons why people lie, to make it better for the other person, and or to not be in such a bad situation just because you have hurted the other person, or you've hurt the other person, whatever. But yeah, let's move on. Is there something else that I have? No, the rest is going to be the full one, I guess. Our lies cause harm to the recipient of it in ways which we can't comprehend. It gives numerous examples of how the lies we say actually affect and harm the people we are lying to. This further strengthens the argument to not lie, ever. Even when a friend asks you for your input or opinion on something, it is imperative that we don't lie. Sam mentions that it isn't our right to decide how much she should know about themselves. This is the quintessence of arrogance. Honesty is not disclose everything, ? Yes, honesty doesn't mean we need to disclose everything. However, even though technically keeping secrets isn't a lie, it leads to deceptive behavior that will more often than not stem lies. So Sam's appeal is to do away with secrets entirely. So you're not also going to be like, well, I'm going to tell you half the truth. It is also fucked up, which is like, okay, I'm just going to keep some secrets, which is not a lie at all, and I'm still being honest, but it's still like fucked up in the end. Truth and memory. The line between what's true and what is not can often fade over time. We already know what memory is not an exact and good representation of what actually happened. By lying, we are putting something out there in a world that could affect our memory. This leads to the connected truth taking place of ground truth. the edge cases. Sam even addresses edge cases like the infamous "Do I look fat?" in the stress question. Questions like this often have subtext in them that needs to be addressed. But there are ways to answer this question in a way that addresses the core meaning of the question. So there are better ways or better answers than a blanket no. To Santa or not to Santa? Which is actually something that's quite interesting. I haven't been thinking about it in such a way. Like, of course, it is something to think about. It is something to also really have a debate about, I would say. But like, it is such an incredibly difficult question, I guess. It of course depends on numerous factors here. But yeah, parents have this need to tell their children fictional stories about reality like Santa Claus to help them and bring them joy. Sam agrees that fiction is great for kids, but he asks not to lie to them things like Santa or the tooth fairy that misrepresents reality. He argues that this not only puts your honesty into question when the child finds out about your lie, but it also fertile attempt at bringing joy and creativity. The imagery in the following quote is a perfect example of Sam's brilliant writing skills, which is also something that this person also pointed out in his summary, that the writing skills of Sam Harris are just incredible. That the amount of vocabulary that he's having and how he's using them is just fantastic. Children have fantasy lives so rich and combustible that rigging them with lies is like putting a propeller on a rocket. Well, yeah. Chapter 15, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. I'm, as I said, gonna just put it down into the description and also in the show notes if you are on the podcast. And there's going to be some quotes this person liked, and I'm going to read it again. To lie is to erect the boundary between the truth we are living and the perception others have of us. Vulnerability comes in pretending to be someone you're not. A commitment to telling the truth requires one to pay attention to what the truth is in every moment. Lying is the royal road to chaos. Each instance of deception casts us onto some of the steepest ethical terrains we ever cross. Honesty is a gift we can give to others. It is also a source of power and an engine of simplicity. Lying is the lifeblood of addiction, which I'm not quite sure about. Like, I really am not. Like, to kind of maybe just say like, well, what is the bottom line now? Or what's the conclusion right now? I would say the conclusion is that you just should not be lying, first of all. Kind of, maybe obviously something. Just please don't lie. Like, it might be good in the short term, but it's definitely not going to be good in the long term. So please just don't do it. Just keep track of that. Keep thinking about that. Keep thinking about choosing the long term instead of the short term. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to change if you decide to go for the long term. Working out, your diet, lying, learning, reading, all these things, it's going to be completely different. If you think about the long term only, you're going to actually have to change your life completely. Maybe. It still depends on your lifestyle and still depends on these habits that you're still having or you're having at this point in time. But it's probably going to change some things. I like it. Yeah, I really like it. But as I've said before, I do understand why lies are such a common thing that people are doing or that people tend to just like to be doing, just because it is something convenient. It is something really easy to do. It is something that's not taking a lot of effort. Like, it is just convenient. It is nicer. Convenient and nice. And short-term bullshit. I think this is actually enough so that the human body or the human mind decides to do something like that. Just because I'm also believing in karma, I would also say that it is not going to do any good to your karma if you're lying a lot. And if people find out you're truly not going to be trusted anymore. If it is like you're lying all the fucking time. And it is also like, why should you be lying all the fucking time? Like, of course, it is a way to just surpass or get around certain things that you maybe have done that you maybe don't really like about yourself and all those things. Like, it is an easy way. It is not easy to be like, well, it was my fault or it was me. It's not really easy to be like, well, you look really shitty in this dress. Please just take another one, or you're actually pretty fat. Like, of course, don't please say it in such a way. Like, it is fucked up, but you know what I'm just talking about. It is not easy. It really is not easy. It is a simple concept. Okay, you should not be lying, but it is not easy. As such, a lot of things are simple, but not really easy. And I really like that. This is also one of the reasons why I'm pointing it out that often. But yeah, let's actually have a look at one thing from Seth Godin. I've actually marked one of them. Learn from what you find if it helps. It is possible that the author has a different upbringing than you do. It is possible that the example on the screen doesn't match your experience. It is possible that you don't like someone's politics, but they are currently doing something interesting. If you can learn something, learn it. It's tempting to box off all the incoming, to divide it by provenance, and to ignore any insight, wisdom, or lesson that comes from a questionable, foreign, and or unfamiliar source. But it is free. Hiding from it means we can't benefit from it. We are most likely to learn from diversity than we are from homogeneity. And I actually have to say, only because it is not Wikipedia doesn't say that it is wrong. Only because it is Wikipedia doesn't say it is right. On the other hand as well, if we can learn something, and I think he doesn't say that you should be learning everything that you can be learning. If you truly understand that whatever you're learning in school is not going to benefit your life, please don't learn it. Please do something that's benefiting your life. Your life. It is about you. It is one of the points or one of these situations where it's truly and only quite about you. Because it actually is about you. It is about your future. It is about what you're able to do. It is about you, basically. So please don't try to learn everything. I'm actually struggling with that. I've been talking about it yesterday, I think, as well. I kind of have a feeling that I need to learn everything because I don't know if it is going to be handy in the end. This might be a pretty good thought of why you should actually be learning everything. But if you truly understand yourself, and if you truly know that whatever it might be is not going to benefit you in your life, please don't fucking do it. It's not worth the time, and it's not worth the effort, and it's also not worth the good grade. Because, I don't know, I would actually like to talk to somebody that is actually hiring people. I would actually like to know whether people actually just employ people based on their grades. Because I don't really think like that. I don't really think that they actually do. But I don't know. I haven't been just employed somebody. I have been employed, but I haven't employed. Whatever. Maybe actually another one, just because it would be good. Go outside. Before you make a decision, walk around the block. If it is raining out, take the dog for a run. End the meeting a few minutes early and go for a stroll with the team. Instead of an afternoon snack, consider some sunshine. The less convenient, the more it pays. A hard habit to create, but definitely worth it. When in doubt, go outside, especially when it is inconvenient. If you want to see this as a metaphor, that's good too. And I think with that being said, I'm going to end the episode right there. The talking part was a little bit strange today. Might be because I'm fucking hungry and I haven't been drinking anything today. I just maybe should be changing it up actually for tomorrow. But yeah, I hope you're doing fine. If there is something that you need to know, please just hit me up on the comments or hit me up on social media as well. I would actually really, really like to have that. But yeah, I'm going to see you the next time. So I wish you the best health of happiness and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy. 3 other questions are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? Ask yourself these 3 questions. They might show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. Yeah, please consider subscribing to the podcast and also to the YouTube channel. I would really deeply appreciate it. As I'm actually having the time and the chance to say it. I've today once again gained another subscriber. I've been gaining, I think, 6 subscribers or 7 subscribers the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And it is amazing. If it actually keeps up that pace, I don't know. It would mean such a lot of things to me. Not because it is about the number, just because I think then people would actually be listening, which I think is pretty great. I would like to have that. But yeah, gonna see you the next time. I wish you the best, really, really, really the best from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna see you.